Give me a second, guys. Just setting up my YouTube as well. Alright, so we are live on YouTube and as well as Twitch. Great. Alright, so I hope the audio quality and everything is perfect. So I hope the audio quality and everything is perfect. Just a minute, guys. Alright, welcome to our first live stream. We are live at YouTube as well as on Twitch on the go. So if you guys are watching anywhere and if you have any doubts, make sure you comment down or leave your message in the chat if you have any doubts regarding anything, and I'm here to help you out. And as mentioned in the title before, on the title up, we are going to be talking about the EQ knobs which we have, or you might be finding it on top on my screen over there, the equalizers, which is the high, mid and low knobs on the mixers which you see, which every mixer has. So we'll be talking about various what are the functions of those EQ knobs and how exactly you can use them, and few examples of how I am using them while mixing. Alright, so let's get started. Let me just check a few things before I do. Alright, so as we have, if you guys have been following us on YouTube, you might have seen our tutorial videos, free tutorial videos which we have uploaded before, and I think previously I have covered the 3 EQ knobs in those free tutorial videos which I've uploaded. So again, we'll be talking about those 3. If you have not watched those videos, no problem. If you've watched those videos, well and good. You can, if you have any doubts, you can just leave in the chat section or on the comment section, and I'll try to reply, or I'll try to answer your doubts. Anyways, let's get started. So as you all know, the equalizer is basically which controls the frequencies of the song which you're playing. Like we all know, the music is made in particular sound frequencies. They have their vibrations and everything, right? So when the sound is made, let me just reduce the volume of this. So when a sound is made, so there are some certain frequencies which a human ear can hear, and in that certain frequencies is what the music is made in. So basically, human ears can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz, and basically the frequency starts from 0 to it goes on up to 40,000 kilohertz. But human ears can hear from 20 to 20,000 kilohertz. So from 20 to 500 hertz or 350 hertz is basically what is considered as bass, or your the vibrations, where you feel the bass groove when the song is playing in a big speakers or in a club. You feel the vibrations in your tummy, right? So those vibrations is where your bass is. So that is where under 20 to 350 hertz. But I personally believe it's under 250 hertz, but about 250 hertz, and I think it's called as mid bass. But so basically all that bass which is there, which is controlled in the EQ knobs, is the low knob which is there on your mixer controls the bass of the song. For example, right now I'm playing this song, and if I increase the volume and if I cut the low knob, you can see on the screen as well as I'm cutting the low knob. Now the bass has gone completely, as you can hear. And as I'm bringing back the low knob in, you can feel the bass or the punch or the kick coming back in. Right now, this section of the song only has the kick in it, but if I go into a little bit, if I re-forward it a little bit further, you can see as it progresses, you can hear the bass line also coming in. So I'm just going to go to the part where it has a bass line. Okay. So this is a bit loud, but yeah. So in this section, it has the bass and kick both together, the bass line and the kick. So your low knob controls the bass and the kick of the song. If I cut it out, most of the energy of the song has been gone. So 90% of your energy lies in your low knob. If I bring this back in, you can feel it back in. And I cut it out and it's gone again. And also you can observe there's a volume meter beside those knobs on top. You can also observe the volume levels dropping, the volume meter is dropping, and as I bring back in, it goes back again. So let's go back again, and you can see. So the low knob contains all your bass frequencies, like as mentioned, the bass and the kick, which is from 20. Let me just go back to 0, and then yeah. So your bass contains in the low knob. And now let's talk about the mid. Mid is where all your if it's like in underground music, or if it's a Bollywood song, or if in any commercial EDM song or a pop song, your vocals lies in the mid section of the song, the mid frequencies, that is basically from 350 to 2000 hertz. So that is where all your mid frequencies are there. Basically it starts from 500 to 2000 hertz, but mid bass is also considered as mid. So from 350 to around up to 2000 hertz is where all your mid or your vocals of the song stands. So if I'm playing a vocal over here, like in this part now, and if I cut the mid knob to the left side, you see the vocal completely goes off. And I'm cutting the knob. Now you can't hear his vocals anymore, but as I bring it back in, now the vocals are back in. So basically your mid frequencies contains the vocals, and it also contains the melody of the song, or the instrument, or whatever this when the song is made, what are the synthesizer or what are the sound he used to make that song. All of that contains in the mid frequencies. Most of those contains in the mid frequencies. So right now if I cut this, you will also, that the melody which is playing, that tan 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 tan, that also goes. See, that's not being played anymore. Just a little bit of what the the low frequencies which are left in that song is being heard. And if I cut the high frequencies also, now all you hear is the bass, or the sub basically, or the low frequencies of that song. And as I bring back the highs, and as I bring back the mids, the song is coming back to life again. So basically now you know that low contains your bass and kick, and mid contains your melody or the sounds which he uses, synthesizers, and the vocals of any song lies in mid. And now let's talk about high frequencies. How do I say high frequencies? High frequencies is where if I cut the high frequencies now, this is very prominent over here. If I cut the high frequencies now, you might also see that there's this hi-hats, that shakers and hi-hats which play in the song, that goes off. If I cut the high now, that shaker is going off, that which is coming, that's going to go off. That's no more coming. And as I bring it back, the high frequencies, you can see it's back again, that is coming in. And if you see any other song as well, analogy, let me just load that. And I guess in this song as well, you can see the high. If I cut the hi-hats, a little bit of hi-hats which is playing, all the high, that is where your hi-hat is. If I cut this, that thing is gone completely. The high, it contains in the high frequencies. And as I bring it back in, you can also hear that it's back again. And so basically all your higher elements of the drum, like the hi-hats and the shine or the brightness of your claps, snares, and other drum elements lie in your high knob. Very simple. And also high knob, if you observe, if I'm playing a song, for example, if I'm playing a song over here, and if I cut the high knob and bring the high knob back in, you'll also observe that it gives you a similar feeling when you're trying to increase the brightness in your phone screen gets brighter, right? So it gives you the same exact feeling. If I cut the high knob now, and if I bring it back in slowly, you'll observe now the high knob is completely cut. It's completely cut. Now if I bring the high knob in, you'll have the similar feeling of it coming back in, like slowly the brightness of the song or the shine of the song is coming back in. And we are back in. So that is where basically the high knob is basically all the shine of the song or the brightness of the song and hi-hats of the song contain over there. I'm just going to skip ahead. And if you listen to this part of the song also, it's the same thing. Mostly the shakers and the hi-hats which are there, that is going to be the prominent thing, and the brightness or the shine of the mid frequencies are going to be in the high knob. Like if I cut the high knob now, it sounds like you're listening to in a very old speakers, right? So that is what high knob consists. It basically it's like the brightness of the song. Now when it's back in, it feels a lot better to listen to as well, right? So basically that is what the high knob does. So now we have covered all the three knobs which are there in the mixer: low, mid and high. Low is where your kick and bass is, mid is where your vocals or your song or the melody of the song is, or these whatever the instrument he's using, most of that elements will be in the mid section, and the brightness or the shine of that mid will be in high, and a little bit of the higher elements of the drums like hi-hats, snares or cymbals or percussion, shakers, etc, what all the drum elements which you listen to, all those things will be in the high. If you're cutting any of those frequency, that means you're cutting out a major section of a song and it will sound a little weird. If I cut out the high section over in this part of the song, it'll sound very weird. And now I bring it back in, it feels a lot different. Right? It feels a lot better to listen to. It goes the same for mid and low. If I cut the low completely, it doesn't really feel the same thing. It just sounds like noise now. It doesn't really give you the same vibe as it was giving before. And I bring the low back in, it feels better again, right? And goes the same for the mid. If you cut the mid, basically you're cutting out most of the song, like there's no more song left. In this section of the song there's no mid section, so I'm just going to go back up to the part where there's mid. If I cut the mid now, there's nothing, like just a little bit of low and a high playing. Yeah, and most of if you've used any equalizer before on any of your phone or any of your other equipment, you know we have bass and treble, right? So bass is basically a low and treble can also be known as high. Technically it's not the right term, but you can consider it as a high. So your treble and bass is high is the treble and bass is the low, and mid is where all your song is. So now where and how can you use this parts and how you can use this for mixing songs now? So let's just get back to one of an example. Let me just search for an example which I can give you. Alright, so we have this song called, okay, let me just pause this and play this. And we have this song again, two songs which are in the same key, and the tempo was very different. So let me just adjust the tempo meaning the BPM of the song. 123. Alright, so this is the tempo set. Now I'll just gonna do a small mix. I'm just gonna go to the forward point, to the point where I'm gonna mix the song in. I'm just gonna forward it over here. Yep. So you can see how the EQ, while I'm using the EQs, you can see on the mixer on top over there how if I'm cutting any of the frequencies and all the changes I'm doing in the mixer, everything you'll be able to see on the mixer part of my record box screen. as you can see, I have used all the three EQ knobs which are there on the mixer to do this transition to go from one song to another song. And so now I'll explain why I used the certain thing and why I did not use a certain thing. So it's very simple. So when the first song was playing, I'm just going to get all the EQs back to normal and just go back to this song. So what I did was, over here is very simple. So when this song started playing, and when I was done with the beat matching, what I did was, first I cut the low of this song, like the next song, this deck 2 song, which I'm going to bring it in. It's very simple. Why did I cut the low frequencies of that? Is because I don't want the low frequencies of this song to clash with the low frequencies of the second song. So first, what I'll do whenever I'm mixing is very simple: cut the low frequencies of the song which I'm going to bring it in, and then I'll slowly start to push the volume fader into the mix, slowly pushing it in. And as I'm bringing it in, I'll listen, I'll use my ears and listen if this song is really coming into the mix. As the song is coming into the mix, what will happen most of the time, if you're not going to use your EQ knobs, and if you're just going to push the volume, if you're going to just push both the songs volume up, the overall volume which is going to be heard in the master or on the main speakers, there will be a boost in the volume decibel levels. Like it'll get louder for a second, like until you finish the transition, it'll get louder, and once the transition is done, again the volume will drop to a certain level. So we have to make sure that when you're doing the transitions, your volume level should be maintained the way it is right now. Like the amount when this one particular song is playing, the volume level, how much it is in the master meter, it should be maintained. The master meter volume level should not increase or decrease when you're doing the transition or when the transition is done. So that is very important. You have to make sure. So how do you do that? Again, first we cut the low of the song which you're bringing in, so that it doesn't interfere with the low frequencies of the song which is playing outside. Low is very important. Low end of the song is very important. That is where your bass is, that is where your kicks are, and the bass line or the sub is. So that should not clash with the other song's sub. So when those two subs or the two low frequencies clash, your mix is going to get muddy. And what do I mean by muddy is basically, like I said before, the volume will actually sort of increase, and when you're doing the mix, it'll sound a little weird. Like the mix will not be clear. Even the audience which is listening, they will come to know that you're trying to do the change in the song, and they'll also get to know that the mix is not really sounding good. So you have to make sure that you cut the low, or depending on how you do it. So this is just one technique which I use. There's a lot of more techniques. Like what you can do is, when you can put the volume low of the song up, and when the song is coming, when the deck 2 is coming up, you can cut the low of the deck 1 which is already playing, the low of that song. Depends. It all depends on your creativity and how you want to do it. Second is, what we'll do is, when the volume feeder reaches a certain level, the deck 2 volume fader reaches a certain level, when the song actually starts to come into the mix, you have to make sure that you give a little room or space for next song to shine into the mix without it affecting the master volume. So how do you do that? So as if you've seen the previous example which I did it, I was cutting the highs and the mids as I'm bringing this volume. It's going to be simultaneous. It's not going to be like, okay, first I'll bring the volume up to a certain level and then I'll stop, and then I'll not do the highs and mids, cut the highs and mids like that. I'll first listen, and by listening I'll see if when I'm bringing this volume fader up, if there is any change in volume, or like if there's any change in increase in the master volume, or if the certain frequencies of this song, like the highs and mids, are clashing with the other song. So after making sure that it's not clashing with any of those things, then I'll slowly, as this deck 2 volume is coming in, I'll slowly start to cut the highs and mids, so that it gives space for the higher frequencies of the next song to come in, to shine in. But still remember, because the low of the deck 2 is cut, it will still be in the background of the mix until and unless the low knobs are changed for both the songs. The first song will always be in the foreground, and the second song, whichever you're bringing, when the low is cut, it will be in the background. Once the low frequencies are changed, this song will come into the foreground and this song will go into the background. So I'll just do the same thing again, but I'll swap the songs. Like I'll play this song and I'll try to mix this song in, and I'll try to play this song not from the start but from the I'll just start it from the point where I put the book cue marker. So when this song is playing, I'll just start this song in. Alright. beat match first. Once the beat matching is done, what I'll do, I'll cut the low knob first, and now I'll slowly, so this sort of genres, like I'll tell you what sort of genres, but I'll slowly get into this mix. Slowly I'll push the volume fader up. So as I'm bringing the volume fader up, it has reached a certain criteria level, which is the half point of the volume meter is up. So now I'll start to listen more careful in the mix if any of these frequencies, the mid and the highs of the deck 1 is clashing with deck 2 or not. So if it is clashing, I'll cut the highs and mids. Still the second song is in the foreground and then first song is in the background. And I have to cut the highs of this song immediately because there are no hi-hats in the first deck. So I completely cut out the mids and highs of the deck 2, and I'm just waiting for the right time where I can change the low frequencies. I'll slowly get the low of this song in because there's no kick or much of bass in the first deck, so I'll just bring it to the half. And then I'll slowly start to cut the bass or the low frequencies of the deck 2. Now the deck 1 has consumed the deck 2 song, like you can't really hear the kick of that song anymore. You just feel the bass, the presence is there, but it's still there. But I'm not going to cut it out completely yet. I'm going to cut it at the right point. And now it's gone completely. And the transition is complete. That is how you do the transition of the song. So for this genres like deep house, progressive house, melodic techno, tech house, also you can use this technique where you slowly bringing the song in, and as you're bringing the song in, you slowly cut the frequencies of the song which is not required, or you cut the frequencies of this main song which is playing out to give out space to this next song which is slowly bringing it in. So that is how basically you do the mixing part, and that is how we basically use the EQ knobs while mixing. This is for the typical underground music genre, but if you're doing for something, let me look for a playlist where I can show you for the commercial songs. Let me just look. Okay. Where is it? Yeah, it's so here. Alright, so let me just see for a song which will go smoothly. Or else wait, I have a perfect example for you guys. Let me just find that playlist. And yeah. Alright, in this we have the song named, yes, this one, and we have the song named Don't Let Me Down. You all obviously know the song Don't Let Me Down. So first let's set the tempo of the song. All right. So when this song now for this song, the transition is going to be really fast. So just keep an eye. So I'm going to start the song at the bookmark where the C is, and keep an eye on the mixer section of the record box view. And now and how smoothly we went from this song to the other song, and it can be same vice versa as well. If I go from, if for example, if this song is playing and if I had to go from this song to this song, so just observe the EQ knobs, how I'm playing around with the EQ knobs. So when the timing was right, so in this sort of genre you have to mix a little quicker. You can't really the time frame which you have for this is the timing for you to do the transition in this sort of genre is very less. So you'll have to be very quick when you're doing the transitioning, and you'll have to be very quick while using these EQ knobs. Now it all depends again on your creativity, how exactly you use it, but yeah. So for this genre, the commercial genres or the main electro house or EDM sort of genre, where more of a poppy genre where songs are there, so you'll have to mix it a little faster. But if it is the underground sound of music which we play till now, so over there it'll be a little different. Over there we'll have to be a little bit more smoother, and we have to be more listening to how the mix is going and then change the song. We can't really just jump around and just change the song just for the sake of it. So that is it for today's stream. I hope you all understood what all the EQ knobs are. I'll just give you a fast recap. Basically, your low is where the low knob or the low EQ knob on your mixer is where all your bass and the kick and the bass line and the sub is, or the vibration of the song is. Mid is where all your vocals of the song or the melody of the song or the sounds which the musician has used to making the song, all that contains in the mid frequencies or the mid knob. And high is where your hi-hats, the shakers and the other higher elements of the drum and the brightness or the shine of the song is there. It's going to be in the high. And I think we have already seen two examples of two different genres, two major genres where you can use, and similar genres where you can also use the same technique for mixing. How I use the EQ knobs. It's all about listening and doing it. It's very simple. It's not really that hard. Just listen how the mix is going, and if required, then cut those EQ knobs. As you keep practicing, you'll get there. You'll understand how to use the EQ knobs and when to use the EQ knobs. The simplest and the easy way is when you're bringing the song in, first thing first, always cut the low so that the mix doesn't sound muddy. If anyone has any more doubts, please leave it down in your comment section, and I'll be just playing a song for 2 or 3 minutes. And if anyone has any more doubts, please leave it in the chat section, and I'll reply back. I'll be just listening to songs or whatever that is. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted for this. So here's another example how I'll be using the Equinox. So yeah, this is the last example. Enjoy. So the next song has started coming into the mix if you just listen. So they're playing very smoothly and very harmonically with each other. Alright, so that is it for today's live stream. I hope you all learned something new or learned something from this stream, and soon we'll be coming up with a schedule every week where we'll be uploading or we'll be streaming live at least twice or thrice a week, discussing about various topics on DJing and various aspects of DJing and music production as well a little bit. So until then, hope you all have a great time. Hope you all enjoy this live stream. Until next time, thank you. Take care. Good night or good evening or wherever you are from. So yeah, bye.
I'm